And we're live. There we go. Awesome. Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How is everything going? You like the red color I have on honor of Red Hat?
I do.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't have any red headers joining today.
It's
Um,
well,
it's
I can still show my solidarity with color. Or I can
thanks.
also, sometimes switch it to blue or switch it to, you know, back to red.
That's awesome.
Or just like find the middle ground.
Purple.
Purple, yeah.
Nice. Nice.
If I do purple, my color goes crazy anyway.
So you're speaking. Who are you?
Uh, I'm Mofi. I have been here before, and I will probably be here after too
Hmm.
sometimes.
Cool.
And what else about me? I like breaking things, and I have been breaking things for a while. Sometimes they work, and the place times they work, that's when we come to talk about those. The
Hmm.
times they break, we just keep it between us. So
Hmm.
hopefully today be one of the days where it works and I can talk about it.
Awesome. And hi, I'm JJ. And if you haven't realized yet, you're watching the IBM Developer Twitch stream. Um, we normally have red headers, as I was saying. I looks like Chris is in the chat. So hey, Chris, how you doing, buddy? Who he is a red header, but he's not actually on the stream. That's fine. I'm just gonna razz him a little bit. But we normally do Red Hat focused work on Friday afternoons. And that's what we're doing today. We are going to be playing with some more Ansible. And we have gained a ton of Ansible knowledge for an internal project we're doing. And as we've been moving forward, we've really realized some really amazing use cases with it. So hopefully we'll continue working with that forward. But before that, I just kind of wanted to throw this link out into the chat, and I guess um, it's under my GitHub name, my namespace. And if you didn't know, with IBM Cloud, if you have an account, you are allowed to have one 30-day Kubernetes cluster for free. It's a 2 CPU, 4 gig instance. So you can play with kubectl and a few other things. You can't run Istio or anything like that on it, but you can. It is an actual Kubernetes cluster that gets deleted every 30 days. I wrapped some helper scripts around it. Uh, so you can just do basically /create an API key and a name, or don't put a name, and it defaults to my cluster -free, and you will get it built on the IBM Cloud. So you'll have a Kubernetes cluster that isn't like kind on your laptop or something. It's actually out on the actual internet. I'm not 100% sure that Ingress works on it.
Uh,
It
it
doesn't.
you have to use Noteport. You can use Noteport to make it
You can
work.
use Neoport. Okay, cool. Maybe we put a PR into the that little repo that I put together just so we can explain that, because I have a feeling that people in the future will want to know that too, because you know people
Yeah.
ask questions. But again, I just wanted to plug it real fast just to kind of make sure that people saw it. I had some requests about different ways of doing this, and it turns out just a simple bash script is exactly what you need. And it's just running the IBM Cloud CLI, and as long as you have an API key, it'll work. Cool. All right, but more importantly, Mofi, what
Yes.
are we working on today?
Well, bunch of different things. So we are kind of getting to the point, as you said, that using AWX to the point where it is looking like a real solution out there, and we're building a bunch of building blocks to get to the point where we can make the connection between our application and AWX. So we're not at that stage just yet, but there are some other cool things along the way that I have found that is probably useful for other people too to learn about. For example, we kind of last week, I don't remember exactly how much we showed, but we showed that we can create an Ansible script that would create a Kubernetes cluster.
Mm-hmm.
But we were talking about how we can take it to the next step and build post provisioning on top of that. So we have done some of that. So we can probably show off that a little bit. For example, create a Kubernetes cluster, and after the provisioning is done, set up Istio or Tecton on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's something we can show, as well as how do you get around creating your own Ansible collection.
Mhm.
So I'm in no way, shape, or form an expert. But again, for this project, I had to figure it out, which I did. So I thought I can pass that information along to the next person that needs to figure this out themselves, maybe as a good jumping board so that they don't have to do the same digging around as I had to, right? So, so yeah, that's kind of like the goal of today, to showcase what we have done so far and show you how to create an Ansible collection.
Yep.
And maybe if we have time, we can create probably a pretty decent Ansible collection on IBM Cloud.
Perfect. And just once again, as I always say, and you'll see me post this in the chat every once in a while, if you have any questions or thoughts, please don't hesitate to post them in there. Mofi and I are here to not only work on this, but we're also here to answer questions and help. We're just two engineers trying to figure this shit out, right? Like, that's exactly what we're trying to do. So we want this to be interactive. Mofi, share your screen. Let's start working, bud.
All right, let's do this. Okay, I'm just trying to get to the page. Okay, so this.
You know, those computers are hard.
Yeah, I mean, this page might look familiar to most of you because if you have been around in the streams before, this is the AWX dashboard. You get to see a bunch of things. This, however, would be a different AWX dashboard. We have switched our AWX running instance to a different instance now. This is running on a VM instead of Kubernetes. And by doing so, we actually ran it on a pretty decent beefy VM. Now we get to see this stuff. Hold on, let me load it. So we get now the current setup of VM we have. It is telling us that we can run about 300 concurrent jobs on this, which is way like more than enough than what we need. So I think we're going to probably, for the time being, we're going to stick to this and see if we can use it to even run our production workload, which is production in quotes.
Wait. I have to do 350 jobs at one time. Is this gonna? Yeah, that's gonna be a problem, isn't it?
So we actually, JJ, you joke, but if you remember, we actually asked Colin about this, right? This is the limit of how many concurrent jobs it can run without problem. You can run more concurrent job, but there will be some like context switching. So you can actually technically run 400 jobs here, but the difficulty would be that not all jobs will get the CPU time right away. It would have to kind of offload some of it, onload some of it. It will be back and forth. But again, you can run more. This is kind of with the current capacity, you can run any amount of job you want. For example, right now we are using 0% of our capacity because no job is running, right? So like sometimes when you're...
We should run 30 clusters, build up 30 clusters, see what happens.
Now?
With Tecton, yeah.
Well, the problem with that is I have to keep changing the cluster name. If I want to, I can do it. We can do it. We can do it. It's fine. We can do it. We're gonna do it.
Well, no. We'd could create a post, right? A curl post against it.
Yeah.
And do. Ooh. Okay. No. Let's start at the beginning. We had a plan.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I want to see.
JJ, stop taking this stream off the rail, JJ. Stop it.
I just want to see that little bar graph just go up.
Oh yeah. But the thing is, given we can run 300 concurrent jobs, 30 is not gonna even make a dent.
That's true.
30 is gonna be like in the corner, 10% of what you can. So you're gonna be more disappointed. Then you're gonna be like, let's spin up 300 cluster. You're gonna take the cloud down. Well, probably. I mean, what would happen is if we tried spinning up 300 cluster at the same time, our SRE is gonna be like, what are you doing? What workshop do you have that needs 300 cluster at the same time? I mean, we can do it. We have run more than like 200 cluster at the same time for multiple workshops, but not for the same workshop, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so it'll be like, what workshop like happening in the middle of Friday afternoon that you are. Anyway, so let's see what we're gonna do. So this is familiar stuff. It is the cluster creation stuff. We have a name of the cluster. I took the liberty of naming our cluster with Tecton. So you can all know this cluster is going to be installing IST on it, right? We just
nice.
So we have a cluster with Tecton that we're going to run. And we also have this workflow that does a thing. So what it does is it creates a cluster. That's the first step. And the next step is install Tecton on cluster. And that job looks, and again, I have to delete this API key again. I keep install Tekton on Kubernetes. This is the job, and let's open up this job real quick. GitHub, Mofi codes, AWX playbooks, and soon this AWX playbooks will be moved to a new repo. I'll show you. This is, I don't know if
no, I think we should do that today. I think we have.
Okay, we're gonna do that today too. So right now, this is a repo that I've been just like putting, me and JJ have been putting things together in here. But eventually what we want to do is put it in a place where, first of all, other IBMers can make use of, as well as anyone in the community, if they find use for this, any of these things, installing something on a Kubernetes cluster. So this is a Tekton install. JJ went ahead and wrote this Ansible playbook, and that basically uses a Docker container on a different VM to run a shell script that will install Tekton. JJ, anything I missed?
No, that's exactly it. But go ahead and bring up the Docker file and the script in there, just so we can kind of see that too.
Yeah. So you have the Docker. Wait, which one is that? Docker kubectl, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the Docker file, JJ.
Hang on. So just to make it very clear, if you go back real fast, you saw that we created or at least I created a Docker kubectl and a Docker Istio. I came down with a process of thinking, okay, we want these to be repeatable jobs that we could, in theory, chain to do multiple things. Well, what is the lowest common denominator between installing something on a Kubernetes cluster? Well, it's using kubectl. Now, I could have rolled the Tekton YAMLs into the container also, but then as I was thinking about it, having Docker Istio requires its own binary to install, right? So it needs more than just kubectl. With kubectl or kubectl, however you want to say it, now with that one repeatable thing, in theory, we could use kubectl after the fact if you wanted to install more than Tekton, like Tekton in some random app or whatever, or Jenkins X, I don't know, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But the idea is that they're reusable modules, for lack of a better term, that we can build out this workflow so we can do stuff. And with this also, if something fails, we can retry. Like there's some really nice.
Yeah. So this Docker kubectl is a shell script that is primed to take in a file passed to it, right? So this is the structure it looks like, right? First thing is, because the cluster we know is running on IBM Cloud, we're basically setting up it with the Kubernetes service so that we can run Kubernetes service stuff. We're logging in with the API key that we pass in. Then we are setting up the cluster config. That also sets up kubeconfig for us. And finally, we run a kubectl apply -f, and $3 will pass in a file, which I have right here. So we're sending the script, the API key, the cluster ID, and then we're sending it the file. So this file is the file that you use to install Tekton. I can prove that by opening this up here, or it'll try to download it. So I'm not going to download it. But again, if you go to the official Tekton docs, that's what you'll get. So this will always install the latest Tekton. So anyway, so we have tested it. Sorry,
I do want to say about the latest Tekton. So if you don't know, Tekton moves really fast. It is a project that is really, really phenomenal. And maybe I'm just, biased because I'm on it, but it moves extremely fast. And when you are playing with it or demoing it or using it, you really do want to use the latest, at least for the foreseeable future. There's more to it than just the installation of Tekton. There's also a catalog. There's also a dashboard and things like that. But we, as the infrastructure engineers here, we wanted to only give it to the point where an instructor can do what they need to do specifically for their class, right? So we'll give you Tekton. Like, honestly, installing Tekton really isn't that big of an endeavor, and a lot of times you should probably have your students do it anyway. But it was a simple enough example to prove what we're doing. So now we have Istio, which requires its own binary to do something, and now we can do a kubectl command against an arbitrary kubectl command against our clusters.
Right,
Mofi?
Yeah, and to your point again, like there are workshops where we're doing intro Tekton stuff where it makes sense for the like students to come in and install Tecton. But there could be, let's say the next week they come back and we have a new cluster. Going through the motion of installing Tecton again doesn't really add any new knowledge to the catalog, what they're trying to learn. So for that kind of situation, if we can have Tecton already installed and they just come and start doing things, that would be, I feel, a better experience. And that's what we're trying to go for.
Yep.
Anyway, so enough talk. Let's kick this job off and see where we get to. So we're gonna run this particular workflow template. Again, if you remember, workflow template is just like collection of templates joined together by some logic. In our case, the logic is run one, then run the next one. I have seen some example where they get pretty complicated, where you can say, oh, run this. If it fails, run this other thing. If it succeeds, run this other thing. Always run this other thing. So you can have three conditions, right? Run if success, run if failure, run always, right? So with this three option, you can make a very complex tree if you want to. Anyway, so with this, we're happy as is. I'm gonna just kick this job off, and this is gonna try to create the cluster. So this step can take up to 30 minutes, mainly because the cluster creation, after that, we have to wait for the network layer to take effect, as well as create Let's Encrypt certificate, because all Kubernetes cluster in IBM Cloud gets a Let's Encrypt certificate so that you can get HTTPS out of the box. Just to prove that this is doing its thing, I'm going to quickly go to Kubernetes and log in. Anyway, so we're here. I am spinning this up in the 1.8 account, wherever that is. Here you go. In the 1.8 account. And in there, if I go to the clusters, I should see a new cluster that's popping up. Oh, my good luck cluster is still here. Look at that.
Hey.
Okay, whatever happened. Did it fail? No, it didn't fail. Okay, now it's starting to create the cluster. Until now, it was doing some installing of pip3 and other stuff. So if I were to refresh this page here, anytime now. Oh, here you go. I was a little too fast with the trigger there, but okay, there you go. So we have this cluster that is spinning up and preparing master work or whatever. It'll go through its motion. We'll come back to it. We'll come back to it once it's done. So let's talk about the second part, and we'll come back to this once it's done. It's going to take some time. Let's talk about Ansible Galaxy and Galaxy Collections. So Ansible is what we know. We kind of know what Ansible is a way to like define your infrastructure with some like YAML structure. We all love YAML. So you define your stuff with YAML and it just makes it happen. Now, when you say YAML makes it happen, YAML is how we define things. It underneath has to use something else to actually make it happen. And that is done via something called modules, and that you can easily create on Ansible. Now, the people in team in Ansible were nice enough so that they let people have a dedicated location where you could upload your own collections and to do whatever you want. For example, I here have also created a collection. We talked about it last time. This is a collection that we are using, which is kubeadmin, that lets us do the cluster creation stuff, which is pretty great. So, oh, 59 download. That's all me, I guess. So cluster creation, we can make use of that. Now we're trying to figure out how we can use this to create a cluster. That's what we're doing right now. But today, what I wanted to do was show JJ and everyone how easy it was for me, at least, to create a new collection. And when I say for me, it's mainly because I have never created a collection before. And so I was just trying to go through the documentation and figure out how to do it. So first thing I did before I even went to this part was look for existing collections that are out there. Again, there are a lot of people with really random collection names, but I would rather go from, let's say I go for something, well, some other folks in IBM, if they have done anything. And I see, okay, we have one for this thing. It has 5 out of 5 stars. ZOS core could be really good. So and it was updated 3 hours ago. So they are probably on their game, right? Like that. So let's go find this repo and look at the source code, which is another good thing. Every playbook is kind of available to just go and look at. And it looks like this is the structure you're going with. You have a galaxy.yaml, you have some stuff there. Okay, so I can replicate that. Now, Another nice thing is Ansible Collection documentation also has documentation on how to create a new collection. So let's start there. I'm going to bring in my terminal on this window. And I have some stuff here already, but I'm going to create a new collection. And let's create cd Mofi codes. I'm going to create Ansible Galaxy collection init, and we're gonna give it a name. So the name would be your repo name first, then the name of the collection itself. So
so hold on. Just make sure this is clear. Being that you already have a collection called kubeadmin that builds Kubernetes clusters for us,
yeah,
we're not extending it. We're creating a brand new entity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I could technically go inside kubeadmin and add more like functions to it, but I was trying to go through the whole process of creating a new collection. We might not publish this one, but I will just, Cool. So trying to figure out if I don't, okay. So Ansible Galaxy collection init. So Mofi codes, and this is I'm gonna call it Cloud user because for reasons I'll tell you.
Sure, that works.
So I'll do this, and okay, so that was not good. I have to go back actually. Hold on. So I knew this was something was wrong. I'll tell you what it is. So I have to run this command actually at the top level where I already have the Mofi codes folder created. There you go. cd Mofi codes, and I have 2 folders now, and I can open this. I'm going to open both of them up at the same time so that we can see the code of both of them. And I'm going to make the fonts a bit smaller. Well, not too small, otherwise people won't be able to see it. So right now you'll see I have 2 folders here. One is called kubeadmin, which is already a published collection, and one of them is called Cloud user, which has a structure but nothing in it. So this is temp. No, that the API key doesn't exist anymore, so whatever. So I'm going to close all the files here. I'll come back to it. And here we are. So I will close all of this, and there are some binary that are not pushed to GitHub. So you can see as I built them, they're here. I pushed them from here. So the folder structure for the most part looks very similar, right? You have the docs, plugins, roles. I have this temp folder, which I was putting some data in for doing some testing. And then you have a git ignore. This one doesn't have. I want to have it because I want to push it to a git registry. And you have a galaxy.yaml. Galaxy.yaml is more like your package.json, where you define all your things, your version, your README files, whoever's the authors, licenses, description of the collection, tags, dependencies, whatever repository is. So this is the information that Ansible Galaxy would use here to find where to find your cluster. So if I click on repo here, that information was available through their Ansible Galaxy.yaml. Right here. So your homepage is set here. Your documentation is set here. Your repository is set here. And the Galaxy UI just picks it up from here and makes it available for people to click the button. Right. So that's like more like metadata that you put so that your other people can access information about your thing. All the roles go here. So if you create any new roles for this, like new modules that are just not code-based, but actually based on other previous existing roles. For my module, it was actual code-based module. So I had to basically, what this does, it takes your information as passed in and then creates a new cluster by calling the IBM Cloud API. So this one is a code-based module. It could also have Ansible collections that are basically taking in other Ansible modules and putting them together without actually writing any new code. That is what you would do if you put together roles. For our case, I mean, I find if you are building Ansible collections based on other roles, which is probably also useful, but at the same time, I think not necessarily necessary at too much because you're already building Ansible playbooks. You could just use those roles to put together new playbooks. But I find the code-based modules that's here is the most useful thing because you can now create new things based on Python code. Quick disclaimer, I'm not a Python developer. I am terrible at Python. And so if you look at my code and you think this is garbage, yeah, I agree. It is. Not the best Python developer in the world, or in this room even. There's 0% in this room right now other than me. So let's still, with my limited Python knowledge, that's one good thing about Python is that the language is very forgiving. So you could write very shitty code that would just still work, which is I like sometimes, not always, but sometimes. So there's a couple of naming convention here. Whatever name I give in this module folder, that will be the name of my actual module that I use. So for example, if I were to come back, if I were to come back here and find my content, this cube admin, if I were to look at content, you see this module. So the module is coming from the name of the module that I created inside that plugin folder.
Okay.
So whatever name I gave here, that's the name I would get on the other end. So let's create a new module here. What do you want to name it? So this is we're trying to create a Python Ansible module that would create invite a user to IBM Cloud, right? So invite new users.py, because the function actually takes an array of new users that you can add. Okay, so that is the basic starting point of creating a module. But let's go back and go back to the documentation, because they would actually also give you some skeleton code that you can make use of. I'm looking for that right now, which is, I think, here. Is it? No, I don't want to do module utils just yet. Okay, so not that one. Creating a collection skeleton. There was a code example here. Where did it go? I mean, I have gone through this once, so I would probably be okay, but it would be nice to start from that example code. And this doesn't look like Python anymore. What is happening?
Dope.
Well, that is interesting. I don't know if the doc updated or anything. It could have. It almost always does. Okay, so there's another one called metadata structure. No, that's not what I need. Trying to think. Oh, right. Sorry. So this is the collection structure. That's not. So we did that already. We actually need the code for developing modules. So. So yeah, I was looking at the wrong place. The documentation is fine. Here you go. So if you want to create a new module, that's how you create a new module with code. Okay. So I'm going to just copy all that. We're going to delete most of it, hopefully, by the end of this. But it's good to start from this. So take this in, paste all of that in, and let's try to make sense of what is happening here. So very first thing is the metadata. Again, metadata is something that is nothing to do with the actual code, but it's more about information for the community, who supports it and things like that. When you download a module, you get to see those information on the Galaxy web page. Documentation, again, very important. Not important to run the actual thing, but super important for other people to be able to use it. And the version added, again, so we added this in 2.9, so you can probably update that. And you can say what are the options it takes, right? Right now, I'm not going to update any of that just yet. I'm going to come back and add that. Example is like, how would your thing work? So I'm guessing this one was called my_test. If I'm not mistaken, let's take a look at, touch my_test. So the documentation basically tells you how would people use this. So they would create a task, and then the task could be my test, and you'll pass the variables you pass to it. That's simply how we do it. And it also shows what are the different things it takes. So it takes these two things, all fun and games. That's good. Okay. So, all right. So before we try to change it to do anything, let's just try to see if it works as is. Well, it's not going to work as is because it's looking like it's taking two arguments. It's taking the name and the new. So you have to have a way to pass those arguments to it. And that's where it's useful to create a temp folder where you can put a JSON object. So args.json. And that's what I did on the other one as well. So I'm going to probably just copy this args.json file, replace everything from it. And delete everything pretty much. And it also takes a new, which is a true or false. So I can say it's true. And let's see, it's take a name, that's a string. It takes a new, it's a true or false. Name is not required. So actually, technically, you don't even need to pass new. And this is it. This is what we're going to pass. Now we're going to go inside new user or cloud user and Python -m. So what am I running here is I'm going to be one level more up. So I'm going to say Python -m cloud.
Cloud.
Yeah, well, I don't know why it's not taking my spelling, but whatever. I'm going to just hold on. I'm going to just copy paste this. Well, I could just do this instead and change this. So we're doing cloud user. Autocomplete is not working for some reason on that. And the name of this is invite new users. So this was super useful when I was trying to play around with it without actually building the collection, because I'll show you in a second. Collections have a little bit of a weird thing when you're trying to import module utils. If you want to create an external folder to do some like background task. So this is cloud user. Okay, so it didn't find anything, which is sad. Let me see if I spelled anything wrong. Modules, invite new users. I thought I spelled everything right.
Are you in the same correct directory?
I thought I was, yeah. Python. So I'm here. If I do a tree, I should be able to see all the files that are here. So I'm saying from the top level, I want to run cloud user, plugins, modules, invite new user. That's the module I want to run. So, let's also make sure which Python I am in. Sometimes, I'm on the wrong Python. Look at that. Python, sorry, I have to do source. That's like not being a Python developer is difficult. I don't know what I'm doing most of the time. Okay, so now I'm going to try it again, Python -m, and I run it. Look at that.
Nice.
Okay, so it failed, but that's okay. It failed because there's valid, not valid JSON there, but it ran it, which is good. So, okay, it's not valid because I have extra comma in the end. So if I run it again, some things will happen. And you'll see, change is false. Original message was this. That's the message I passed to it. And the message was good. But again, all of them are like boilerplate code that already came. We copy pasted in. So we don't know how they're here. But this is the module args we passed in. Name was this. New was false. We didn't pass new, but I think there's a default value. Yeah, default was false. So it got set to false. I could also change this to send new with it. To true and spell true, right? And then run it again. You will see that changed is set to true, and we're sending this message again. Now the basic building block of building a plugin is ready. We can pass arguments to it, and we can also test it locally by running it like this. So everything is falling into places. Yeah. Or it could be falling,
into pieces.
Yeah, it could be. It could go either way at this point. Okay, so the meat of the actual module starts from around line 69 and goes all the way down to line 129. So you have this run module function that you run, and you have this def main, and if it's the name, so This is a Python way of saying if you're running this by itself, run the main function or don't. Otherwise, you don't want to run this. Otherwise, you can just you can ask it to run whatever you want to run it. Again, a lot of Python-y things. People in the chat who are more versed in Python than I am can yell at me for doing bad Python examples. But let's talk about how we go about adding whatever keys we need for this. So number one thing, this one thing is we need to be able to use Ansible. This is the Ansible module we have to import. And that gives us bunch of different things. For example, it gives us the way to create an Ansible module, and they have some check mode, some params. So whatever params we passed using the module args here, we then can get access to it via .params like this. We can also do things like exit JSON. That is a pass condition. So if you do module.exit JSON, that is succeeding by returning this whatever JSON entry return. You can also do fail JSON. For example, I can send the name fail me. And I can run this, and you would see that it failed.
Fail me. Yep.
But you would see that wait, fail me. Is it fail me? No, it's fail space me, not underscore. If I were to do fail space me, you would see that it would fail. Take a second, but it would fail. So message is requested to fail, change is true, invocation, So it's failed set to true, right? So if you return something back with fail JSON, that would be the failure error coming back. If you just do exit JSON, that would be just the data coming back, whatever data you want to send back. Again, pretty decent structure. It works out well. So let me take a look. So result is the one that you set all your data in. I don't think it's an Ansible module requirement to have a result like this, but most Ansible modules will start like this. They will have original message, and the message you can add other things to it. If you want to send any kind of data back, that's where you can send it. Okay, so let's get started then on the actual code. So let's go to documentation. So what you want to do is create a new user on our IBM Cloud account. That's pretty much all I want to do at this particular.
Well, no, you don't want to create a user. You want to invite, because
not create a new user. Sorry, I want to invite a user to an existing IBM Cloud account. Yes. So a few things we need. Again, the path itself, as you can see here, is v2 accounts, and you have the account ID and /users, which I really, again, this information is public. If you have an IBM Cloud account, you can also manage that via your own API if you don't use the UI for any reason, or you want to make it automated with some way. It is open for you to do so this way, which is pretty cool. Really big fan that this exists. And also they have examples in Python. Excellent. Well, I do need to get the API key and everything, and the code looks terrible. Mainly because I don't understand Python. I don't know what they're doing with this particular bit of thing. You know what? I'm gonna stick to Carl. I'm gonna write it myself. Whatever. That's gonna be easier to understand what I'm doing. So okay, the endpoint we're trying to target is we need the account ID for it. So that's the information we would need. So let's start there. Since we needed information, we're gonna just put it there. I'm not gonna delete the existing one, but let's start adding the things we need. So this is gonna be again, I don't know exactly why am I saying dictionary, but I'm gonna just stick with the one that is already there. And I'm gonna guess this is required because this is a part of the path, so I can probably do it without it. So I'm gonna put it as required. What else information do you need? So this is required, denoted also by the star in the corner here. Account ID is required here. We also need then a user. Okay, so user, okay. So account role is okay. So this is an example of what we could also set IAM policy right here. What? That's nice. I don't know if I know how to set the IAM policy directly like this though. So that's a challenge.
And the account roles can be unique, right?
Right.
No, that's a group, not a role.
This one?
No, what I'm saying, the groups can be unique. The roles are hard coded.
Is it?
right?
I
I'll,
don't know.
no, you keep doing your thing. I'll verify
Okay,
that.
you do the research in the background,
Yeah.
and I will basically try to figure out what are the things we need to send. But basic structure is we need to send this information. We need to send the authorization bearer token. We can generate bearer token using what can we use? We can generate bearer token using our oh my god, I'm totally blanking. Oh, the API key. We can generate the bearer token using the API key, and then just make set a header application JSON, then send a body with it where we're gonna send the users, which is gonna be an array of users. And then we also need to send IAM policy. So I am guessing if I were to not set, so let me look at what it looks like if I not also in the meantime. This cluster is ready. You want to quickly check the cluster got Tecton or not?
Yeah, let's do that.
No, I can do it from the Kubernetes dashboard that no one ever uses.
That's true. You're right, because the namespace.
I'm unauthorized. I have to log in back again. Hold on. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it from the terminal. No, I don't care. Okay, so I see 1840. There's a special alias that I have created to log into that account. Excellent. I have logged in. It's fine. IKS clusters. I'd like to see what clusters I have. Okay, so the cluster name was cluster with Tecton. And I can say IKSC cluster with Tecton.
Can you when you got a second, I've got the roles. Yeah,
Okay,
the roles are hard. The roles are hard coded. It's the group name that is unique to
per account.
That you can name anything to.
Okay, cool. K get NS to get the namespaces. Excellent. So we see, oh, Tecton is not here, so something didn't work.
Uh-oh.
That is sad.
All right, bring up AWX. We'll see what happened.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, it didn't do it. Okay. Well, live demos. So it is still running.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's not it. No, that's not running. Never mind. Hold on. Let me go back. Oh yeah, Tecton is running actually. The Tecton one part is still running. So cluster got
the cursor create is still running. It hasn't verified that it's up and running in good state yet.
Right. Okay. Let me confirm. Let me show you why that is happening. So K get IKS cluster get -C. Not this one. What is the name of the cluster? Cluster with Tecton. So there we go. So the reason it's not complete yet is because the ingress subdomain and the ingress secret has not been assigned just yet. Again, as I said, that can take up to, it says here, it can sometimes take longer, like 10-15 minutes based on how many requests you're making with Let's Encrypt. Again, Let's Encrypt has this kind of soft limit. If you're making too many requests too quickly, they kind of block you. So, which is good because we don't want to people to, this is a free service and let's internet be more secure. We want to be mindful of that. So I think that's why they wait up between each request to check if they can get a certificate for this cluster. Anyway, we'll come back to it once it's done. Man, for a second I got scared, but it's a false alarm. Everything is good. Okay, so we need the account ID to be passed. We don't need the new anymore.
Excellent.
Took a minute. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. So you're gonna have to say users, and I don't know how to make the type to a array yet. So I'll have to figure that part out. Required is true. So that's another thing we have to pass to this. And I called it dice. Okay, I think I did it. On the other example, I actually sent an array. Could be wrong, but let's see if I did. Nope, all of them are strings. Jeez, okay. I could cheat and send in a string anyway, but then like make that a comma separated string that I can just like parse on the Python side. Or we can figure out how do I set this module archetype to an array.
Don't you just change that dict to an array or square brackets?
don't know. Okay. Quick Google. Let's a quick Google break and see what kind of types we can send. Testing. Of course, they're not gonna be any example because why would they have it? Oh, okay. One thing I could probably do: look at an Ansible collection that sends an array, and then use that. I know one of them that probably already has. So there is a Kubernetes community module for Ansible, and this one is like it has a lot of different kind of things. So I'm pretty sure we can find something where you send an array instead of, or not.
No, I just saw one.
Which
Search
one?
for array. Search for array. I swear I just saw it. What? Really?
Yeah, no, it doesn't look like it.
Hmm.
Where? Think of an example where do I have to send an array for stuff? For example, that's how I do for the tags as well. I send just a string that I comma separate, like in
Yeah,
the
it's
Python
fine.
code. Okay,
We're
cool.
just demoing the stuff anyway.
Right,
Granted,
right.
though, what do they say? The best what is it? The best fix is a temporary one, or the best permanent fix is a temporary one, or something like that.
Well, I haven't. I'm not familiar with that particular idiom, but okay. So
I could have just made it up. I probably just made it up.
could have. Most idioms are made up by someone at some point. It's not like it
True.
came as a fact. Someone said something, then we were like, you know what, I like that. I'm gonna steal it. That was the meme stealing of the 4000 BC. Like, I like what you're saying. I'm gonna steal it. Okay, so we need this information as well as let's see what other information we would need. We need the email for the users. Okay, all right. So what I will do is get the user email, and all the user we're adding would be the same member role when you're adding this. So we'll take the user email, and also you'll take role. So role would be another dict with type of string. Required would be true. I'll make that all required right now. And if we say this is it, what you can say right now, that's not the one. This is the one. So we need the email. So users. Then we need, what else do we need? We need account ID. And then we need role as another string. So let's say I just, for random stuff, I can say 1, 2, 3, 4. Users is going to be Mofi, JJ. JSS. Oh, wow. Okay. So we have Mofi, JJ. That's all these things being sent. So this up to this is generic stuff. For this stuff, I would basically start commenting this out for now. Well, I'll return the. Okay. So next thing what I'll do is result then of users is gonna be module.params users. I'm just setting all of them back to my result so that I get to see what I passed, right? So that I know they're there. Account ID is gonna be module.params account ID, and finally result. Yeah. Role is gonna be module.params role, or role spelled properly. If I run this again, let's see what happens. We should see that it. Oh, I think I can do another thing here. I can take this output and say Python -m JSON.tool. Look at that, beautiful, beautiful. So that. Anyway, so now we can see we're sending that user, we're getting the account ID, we're getting the role. So with that information, we could do whatever we want. Now we need to send another thing here, which is IBM Cloud API key. We need to authenticate and authorize ourselves to do these kind of things. And A, B, C, D. We'll switch in the real data soon. If I just send it, run it, I would see that thing I passed here anyway, so I know it's there, right? Okay, so what else do I need? I need to know IAM policy. So that is okay. this is the part where I am probably the least qualified to do things. And I don't know how the access group, like what are they doing here? Access group ID dash. Do I have to put this 5 stars, or do I
No,
just...
no, that's the UUID of the access group.
Okay. Because they have 5 stars, then they have another UUID like structure. So I'm a bit confused.
Well, because they didn't want to put a real one out there.
Ah, I see. Okay. I mean, they could
It's
have
like
just
Hunter
said
2. It's like Hunter 2.
They could have just said your UUID here. Why put like a fake UUID to make people more confused? Anyway, that's
Really? You missed it? Really? You didn't like that joke?
I
Hunter
don't
2?
know what that is.
Gosh, so young.
What is it? Educate me.
So it's a bash joke about passwords. Look up Hunter 2 real fast.
So what is this? How do you spell it?
Hunter, Hunter.
Okay.
2, no, all one word. All one word.
Oh.
There you go. Know your meme. Or the quote. The quote's even better. Go back. Do the quote. Back. That one.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. It is the quintessential password joke that everyone says. Just shows my age, I guess.
Oh my God.
Yep.
I mean, I have seen that joke on Facebook. Like, same joke, basically.
Mhm.
Ah, wow. Okay. Well, the more you know.
Yep.
Okay, so I think by now ingress subdomain actually shows up. So a quick aside, cluster create is done. Actually, the job is complete because,
All right.
aha, success. So let's try this again. K, get, NS. We have the Tecton pipelines.
Huzzah!
And if I run this, you would see that I have Tecton, 2 things in Tecton pipelines already running. Everything is good. I can say also say take an version to learn more stuff. We didn't install triggers, so we don't see anything, but we see the pipeline was installed in this cluster. So job well done, JJ. So nice stream.
Yay!
Yeah, Clint. So okay. So the thing we tried doing is that when these things work, it's really mundane, right? We're trying to do a very boring thing. Like installing Tecton is not cool, but like we're trying to automate not having to install Tecton 30 times. So
exactly. And this is now a repeatable, idempotent way using AWX to request a cluster and get Tecton built.
Yeah, and just to prove the idempotency, I can run the job again with everything the same, and nothing should break or should happen technically because we have the cluster already existing. So it will go check if the cluster exists. It exists, it'll just come back. Okay, it exists. Then we'll move to install Tecton. It also exists, it will not do anything. So that's the idempotency you're talking about. We can run this job. Like if you want to say, I want to make sure this happens, I'm gonna just run it 3 times. Who cares? Right? Like if it succeeds once, that's all I need. And it's gonna take longer, sure, but it's not gonna take me to wake up at 2 a.m. to make this thing happen. I can just like click a button and something will happen somewhere. That's the beauty of automation to me. And then this time you can see the job came back so quickly because it didn't have to actually do anything. And this one too will come back extremely fast because it will just start at some point. This one takes a little bit longer to start because it's going to a separate machine, starting a Docker container. But eventually when it does start, it just so good. So good. Done.
There you go.
We're good. That's it. We're going to come back here and do this. I mean, that's same. We can do this. That also didn't change anything because again, we tried to apply something that already exists. Kubernetes itself is idempotent where if something doesn't change, it says, you know what? Nope, nothing changed. But the next level thing with Tecton specifically is that in the meantime, we ran the first time and the second time, if the Tecton latest YAML file would have changed, we would have updated Tecton with this by now. Right?
And that's awesome.
That's a byproduct. We didn't even like plan to make it this way, but like just the way Kubernetes itself works, this is a byproduct that our Tecton would have upgraded with that command. That's it. Great. Anyway, So back to the original problem we're trying to tackle here. So I want to create this module that takes in this information and does something. Now, a little bit of knowledge hunt we need to figure out is that what IAM policy am I assigning to this user? Or can we get away with not assigning IAM policy because it doesn't look like there is a star next to it?
Correct.
So if I want to just create a user as a member, whatever, IAM policy is something requires skills and time, and we need to find experts into this thing. And I do not do. So we can probably figure that out. Or we can do a bit of digging. So you can say, IC, IAM. So I have IC is short IBM Cloud for me. And you can see roles. IC, IAM, roles. What are the roles we have? We have these 4 roles. I think, this, as you said, these are fixed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's a role that is fixed. We also have access groups.
Yeah,
So,
that is something that you get to create yourself.
Right. All right. So, okay. I mean, it's not too difficult. We can just take this one access group,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we put that in the access group right there in the bottom. We also have this role thing. Do you know what that does?
If you go back.
Oh, role ID. That's the role ID.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Which
don't
is
think
that whole long. If you go back to next to terminal, it's the CRN. It's
Right. No, my question is, I don't think we have a member role anymore.
Oh
Because
shit.
because we have a viewer role, but not a member role.
We should probably put that PR in like now.
Yeah.
Because who in their right mind is going to look at this again anytime soon? Right.
Yeah. Well, we'll come back to this. So attribute, right? Resource attribute. We have an account ID. Okay. So attribute.
Hang on, cloud. I'm gonna put it together.
Yeah. Go for it. Yeah, account ID. Then you have a resource type. Then you have a resource. So what is this resource? Oh, resource group. What resource group they're part of? Okay, cool. So you can also say IBM IC resource groups, and you get to see all the resource groups that are available on this account. In this case, it's gonna be default. Cool. So yeah, I think we can structure this pretty good. We can structure this well. An access group we can do as well, which is gonna be advocates, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or lab instructors. Which one do you
want lab instructors? That's the one you want.
Okay, so let's do this. I'm gonna basically take this one and try to basically have a copy of that here on my temp folder. Payload.
And there's no edit on GitHub. These are programmatically created.
I see.
Yeah.
What am I doing? User is an array. Users is an array. So I think this goes inside that. Yeah, everything looks fine. And I'm gonna change this to mid-hour. So I'm gonna say viewer. Sure, maybe a viewer. That's a role viewer. That's fine. Account ID I'll have to find. For now, I'll say ABCD resource group. Resource would be like something like. So we also need this information coming in then. So you would need the resource group ID. So let's put that in there as well. And this is all when you're creating a collection for some external resource like this is all you're doing. You're figuring out what are the information you'll need from your module to be sent as a dynamic resource, and you're putting them as module arguments. That's basically it. So resource group, and that's going to be also a dict. Type equals to going to be str, required equal to going to be true. And we can probably come back at some point and figure out, can we make some of this optional by, okay, I don't know if you know the answer to this. So access group defines what they have access to, right?
Correct.
So what is the purpose of a role?
So access group is a collection of possible roles. Roles are, access group is a one-to-many relationship. So you could have like an access group of executives or whatever, and they have budgetary and approval or budget. Hang on, budget. Looking at budget and deletion rights,
Right.
right? Where you could have an admin who has all the rights, called it in our case the lab instructors is our admin right. So that's the account role is fixed, that it is known by IBM to do certain permissions, where the access group is a collection of those roles to do things.
Okay. So so if I were to, let's say I create an account role of someone as a viewer, but then add them to access groups, which is all admin, they're technically then admins.
Correct.
So what is the purpose of the initial account role? Again, this is me not knowing anything about IAM.
That is a very good question. That is actually an inconsistency that I don't know.
Oh, okay. No. Well, I mean, there's definitely reason behind it. They probably know better than we do, but anyway, so, okay, cool. We can add multiple access groups too, but for now, I'll just stick to just adding one on ours. And that's another thing, right? Access group is another thing we need to be able to say we want to add one or many of. So I'll probably make access groups on one of the comma separated value too.
Wow, did you know that we have a Stack Overflow IBM Cloud tag?
What?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I had no idea. So, needless to say, I am now watching that.
Okay. So we have this information, and I'm pretty sure that's all we need. Well, account ID is already there. We have to add a resource group type, which is a resource ID, resource group ID, access group, list of access group, list of roles as well. Roles should be list, not just so I'll make that a roles. Okay, so with all that, now we can come back here, and these are all. So another thing we could do here. So let's say I set something as required as true, and try to call this. It would actually fail because oh, sorry.
I'm betting. Well, no, actually, never mind. Damn it.
What were you gonna say?
So the account role thing. I thought I had an idea, but it's not.
Okay, so let me show you again. So if I try to run this again, you'll see that what did I send? Oh, module role. Okay. I sent a role that doesn't. So roles is one of them, and it would still fail this time around because it would say that missing required arguments, right? If you set something as required but don't send it, it will fail the module, which is expected and good that it does that. Okay, so I think take another look, but I think we have everything we need to be dangerous.
Okay, hang on.
Right, we need users.
We don't need the role ID. We have that on there.
That's the roles.
Yep.
Oh, we also need the role name. We don't have the role name. Yeah, that's the account role. Okay, account role we need. Okay. Yeah. Account ID we have. Account role is gonna be dict type str required equals true, and now we have everything. Cool. And after that, after this step, Ansible module already collected all the stuff. So at this point, we should have access to all the module params. So let's say user array is gonna be module params, then users, and dot split on comma. I think that's something that would work. Then you have I can look at it here. Excellent. I can look at roles array is going to be module.params. Then we need Account ID you already have access to it. I'll just make it a variable. Account ID is man. Okay, so then we have IBM Cloud API key, which is very important to be able to do anything. Okay, so these are the information. We have more. Let's see what are the other ones. We have access groups, resource group, and account role. These are the variables we need. So account role is, I'm gonna try to speed up a little bit. Account role, what else we have? Access groups and resource groups. Resource, okay, so did I call it a access group? So this is a access group array then. And I don't 100% remember if that's how you split a string in Python, but I'm pretty sure that's how you do it.
That is, you're right.
Okay, good. Access group and resource group, that is important. Okay, so looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4. This is doubled. 7 of them here, 7 of them there. Looks good. Excellent. Now let's create a payload object here. Payload is going to be a dictionary. So here we can set whatever data we need to set. Number 1 is users, which is a dictionary, an array. Here we take, what are we taking as? So user is an array of these things. So you have to map our, okay. All right. Okay, good. Got it. Our account role. Okay, so I will just create it as an empty for now. I'll come back and fill it in. Then we have, what else we got? Structure. Oh, why am I just going back and forth? I have this whole payload here. I did that. I knew that would be useful. So I am policy. Yep. I am policy. What is the IAM policy type? It's an array that takes an object of type and roles.
And roles is an array.
Yeah, so IAM policy takes an array, is an object, takes a type. I think this part I can hard code because I don't know what other IAM policy you're going to add with the user creation.
And that's a good point.
And roles is an what? Another thing? Roles is another array. Okay, so I'm not going to add anything to roles just yet. I have to add that in a second. Then we have resources. Okay, so
array.
Resources, which is an array, of objects. It takes in attributes,
which is an array.
Okay. That's a very convoluted structure.
Now that we're actually looking at it.
Yeah, usually when you just click some buttons on the UI, you don't see all that. But now that we are seeing it, we are actually seeing it.
Kind of makes me sad.
Why so?
Because it's hard, to peel back this onion to see how this is put together. It's not like we're actually having to use actual brain power to unpeel this back.
JJ, what do you got against using brain power, JJ?
Man, I just want the stuff to be easy.
I mean, again, once we do it, it's gonna be easy. Yeah, that's how all the things work. Like you do something, then it becomes easy for the next person. It's never easy for you. It's just.
It's true. You clean up you make your campsite better than you left it, or whatever the saying is. I speak in idioms if it isn't obvious yet. Speaking of, I'm gonna go grab myself some caffeine.
Okay.
And then
unless you want to take a quick break, in the meantime, I can fill this in so that people don't have to watch me type this thing in.
Yeah, let's give it a five-ish minute break,
Yeah.
and then we'll be back. Thanks for sticking. Please stick around. We'll be back. We will.
Let's do it.
There we go. We're live again.
All right. So while we're in the break, I tried filling this in. So
I distracted him, so nothing got done.
Yeah, well, I finished the shell of it. I need to just fill in 3 more things. So this is where I feel like my lack of knowledge in Python is gonna make it annoying to fill this in, right? Because it's a nested structure where I have an array of users that I need to fill in here. So the first thing that comes to my mind is like JavaScript map of things, right? But I feel like what I would end up doing is create a separate like an array of users that set that user to this user, if that makes sense.
I think so.
Yeah, so what I can do is, so I have a role that is set, which is going to be account role, and I have a users array. So what I can say here is user payload is going to set to something.
Oh, hey, share your screen. Can't see
stop sharing my screen. There you go. All right. Good. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen again, I think. Okay.
Yep.
So user payload is going to be an array, and I'm going to say for user in user array user payload dot push. Is that a Python thing? I think so.
Yeah, push. Yeah, it is. You're pushing it onto the stack, right?
Yeah. So I'm gonna push an email address to be user, and the other thing was go away. Okay, the other thing was this thing, account role. So I'll send that to set this to account role. And after that, now I have an array called user payload that I can set here. That is done. Then I have another one I can create called roles. So role payload. Again, some Python guru on the chat or someone in the later watching this can be like, this guy is an idiot. I can do that in 1 line of Python. And they're probably right. They can probably do it in 1 line, if the whole thing in 1 line of Python. But again, I'm not that.
But if it's 1 line of Python, it's probably harder to read. This way, it's very clear.
Yeah, it's clear for non-Python folks that will have to read this, like myself and you. So, I mean, I just assumed you're a non-Python person. I don't know. I might be wrong.
Dirty secret about me is I can't program with a damn anyway.
Don't tell anyone. Okay, so push. We're gonna push role ID. I think no roles ID or role ID. What is that? Role ID. So role ID, and that is gonna be our role is set here. One thing is I think role was previously already defined, but it's in a for loop, so it's not a bad thing. It's okay. I think we can get away with that. Now here we're gonna just replace that with role payload. It's coming together, JJ. And then the last one is the access group. Access group is a little bit easier because access group is purely just an array. So we actually don't have to do anything. So we can just say access groups. Where is that at? Access groups array. I can just set that here. And with everything, if everything worked out the way I planned it to, I can now at this point, I could just to check that everything worked out, I could say payload is gonna be payload. We're still not talking about any actual API call or anything just yet, but this is just to confirm that everything we tried doing is working. And I will have to pull all these 7 things and set that value. I'm gonna just copy this in here so that I know what value need to be set to what. So users is set, Mofi and JJ, account ID is set, account role I need to set. And account role it's not plural, so I think it's not an array. Then we have roles. Roles we already have set. I'm going to set a couple of roles here, admin and viewer. Then we have access groups. I should have 7 in the end of this. And access groups is like some random string. Okay. And then I have one last. Resource group? That's what I'm missing. And then I'm going to make PQRST. Account role, I didn't set anything here. That is going to be, I don't know, viewer.
Mhm.
So if I set all of that right,
Capital V.
well, this is a dummy value. I don't care. I just want
Oh
to
yeah,
see
but we don't. Okay.
the payload get set. Ah, failed. What happened? What I did wrong. Q error role. So role doesn't exist. Ah, I know, because I'm still trying to. Wait, what am I trying to do? Result. Oh, I haven't saved this file. Ha. It still failed. List has no push. So Python arrays doesn't have a thing called push. Okay. Python add to list. We'll learn this
It's
together.
insert. Insert.
Is it?
Yeah.
Append. Not insert.
Oh, my bad. I was reading the wrong thing.
Thanks for the help, JJ.
I'm just here for the comments. That's all I'm here for.
I'm gonna just change
the wrong information.
wrong information. Yeah. So, like those Dos Equis, the commercial, like most interesting man in the world.
Yep.
Right. You can be like, I don't usually help, but when I do, it's wrong.
I do it completely wrong.
Yeah. So what did I do? I thought I replaced all of them with. Oh, I again didn't save it. Oh my god. Okay, run it again. Ah, excellent. So we can see our payload didn't show up here. That's something I gotta see. Result should have a thing. Oh, okay. My question is, why is this not an error? This is not a valid syntax. I don't understand. Python, like, be a little bit more stricter. Come on. Anyway, but long story short is you will get to see that my payload now looks like a payload as it should be. So
nice.
So we're getting there. We're getting there, JJ. Slowly but surely. Now, okay, so at this point we have the, how do I say this? We have the skeleton of making this work, but we still have to do some things to actually make it work. For example, we have to be able to get our access token from our IBM API key. Then with that access token, you have to make an API call to this endpoint with the payload, right?
Yes.
It's a little bit of manual work because we don't really not using an SDK that does it for us. But luckily for my other work, I actually have done a very similar task already. So I'll be able to lift and shift most of that code in here for us. Another good thing is eventually this will probably be part of the KubeAdmin Ansible collection anyway. Then I don't even have to write this. I can just use the same module utils to do these things. But in this case, I would have to redo it because, again, logic, because I don't have it. So few things I would need. Actually, for now, I'm just going to copy all of it. I don't need all of it, but I'm just going to copy all of them. I'm going to also copy these 3 things up there just because I can. Okay, so before I start doing anything else, I'm going to just paste all of that. The code became immediately bulkier. Then I need to get the get of the endpoints. This one, I need to do these 2 functions in there. I'll explain what each of those things do. And in a second, cluster ready, renew token is needed for me as well, because the renew token is like you want to refresh your token as you're doing it if you need to. For us, I don't think we need to get to refresh token. I need the refresh token for the Kubernetes one because it's I'm checking my cluster again and again every few seconds. So after a certain time, my access token expires after 30 minutes or so. So I need the renew token. For this one, I don't expect us to need the renew token, but I'm just copying it in just so that I have it. And rest of the code, I don't need. Okay, cool. First thing first, I'm gonna get rid of the renew token because this is a one-time thing. I don't expect it to run for any longer. I need this. I don't need the refresh token grant type, but I'll keep it here. I don't need any of this endpoint. This is for Kubernetes cluster related things. I don't need any of these 2 things. Deleting is much easier than like starting from scratch sometimes. Not always, sometimes. Identity endpoint I will need. Accounts endpoint I will probably not need yet. Okay, so for now, I'll keep this. Let's go back and see what are the unique things we need for this one. So one of the things we need is this URL, account user management cloud.ibm.com, this thing. So this structure. So we're gonna have to make a post request here. So that's something we'll come back to. So subdomain. So subdomain account management. So this is gonna be, this is called it's called user management, not account management. Again, naming doesn't matter. So I shall be trying to be mindful of the better naming policies here. So you have a protocol.
You need the period at the end.
What?
Period at the end.
Ah, yes, excellent. Look at it, JJ, actually being helpful.
Hey, oh, and a question mark too. Wait, what?
Yeah, it turns out you just like punctuation marks. Like, hey, exclamation points. Throw it in there. We don't
Let's
need.
see what happens.
Yeah, like we haven't tried. How do you know it's not gonna work? We don't need the IAM ones. We just need the API. We do. Oh, never mind. We need the IAM ones because we need to get our thing. We don't need the account one though. Resource endpoint we don't need. Accounts endpoint we don't need. Resource key you don't need. Okay, we cleaned up most of it. That's good. That's good. Anyway, so get endpoint. What are you saying here is basically make a call. The reason we need the get endpoint call is because on IBM Cloud, what happens is when you try to log in, we have actually multiple servers all across geos. And when you make a request, it basically goes to one of the many endpoints that are available. So just because you're in Dallas, if something goes wrong, your request automatically redirects to somewhere in like not Dallas, but Houston or like DC or SJC or Toronto or Mexico somewhere. So we need to find that endpoint every time we make this request because you don't want to target a dedicated because that could be down, could be for maintenance, could have changed. We have redundancy built into this. So that's why we need to find the endpoint ourselves first. Once we get the endpoint, we can then target end. So let me show you what the endpoint looks like. So it's protocol IAM cloud.ibm.com, then this. So let me show you what it looks like. That's the open endpoint, right? So yes, IAM cloud.ibm.com/this. And if I refresh this page like 10 times, I would start seeing this host change. So right now, by default, we have this like some number of hosts. This is all the major data centers we have available. But so passcode endpoint or like the token endpoint, this is right now I'm targeting identity 2, but later today or even now, if I refresh the page, I could see a different identity endpoint. Anyway, that's the reason I had to do it this way. Okay, so we have the identity endpoint, we have the authenticated. After the end of this, I should have my access token available. So this is where we're gonna do the meat of the task here. This is gonna be add user to, where did it go? Account. So this should take two things. One of them would be account ID because that requires on the endpoint, and the 2 is payload. That's the thing we're gonna send to the thing, and also token, access token. Access token. These are the 3 things this one would take. For now, let's just return and see where are we calling this. So we're going to call this right after we have created our payload. It's about here. We're gonna call this, and we already have access to account ID if everything else went well. We should have access to our payload because we just created it. And finally, we need to get our access token. I don't know why I have equal sign after the access token on our suggestion, but I think I spelled it wrong here. I didn't. Anyway, my auto suggestion was completely have lost its mind. I'm gonna collapse some of these things so that it's easier to traverse back and forth. But that shouldn't change anything for my code. Okay, so we are here. We send the access token. It doesn't know what the access token is. Of course, it doesn't. All we have to do is, well, get endpoint. We don't have to call. Our IAM authenticate calls it. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna get IAM authenticate and I'm going to send it IBM Cloud API key. After
Mhm.
that, we have tokens. And from tokens, we can say tokens, access token is a field on the tokens. And I know
Perfect.
this because I have done it like 17 times in the last week. So I know this. But if you didn't, I would just print it and see what the token comes back, and I can figure out what to send. But you want the access token, which has an expiry time of 30 minutes. Um, so again, if you're
So
doing, so go.
you can run this interactively. You can break into it and use like the interactive debugger
Yeah,
in
we could.
Python.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
to see
I
all
could.
this stuff. Okay.
Right, but the point is, first of all, I wrote the Galaxy collection like last week, which I
That's true. Yeah.
pretty vivid memory. Also been working on the Kubernetes admin application where I live in the middle of this API stuff. So yeah, here's the thing though, with this kind of stuff, it's as you said, JJ, you want things to be easy, but someone has to do this so that it's easy for other people. Right.
Sure.
So in this case, I am that person who does this like manually so that it's easier for other people. And big shout out to Nick. Nick was figuring a lot of these things out for his cloud annotations tool, which is also a big shout out of the tool. If you're in the AI space, something you should definitely check out. So yeah, Nick was building this from scratch, and he basically done a lot of the legwork to figure out a lot of the how to convert a lot of this API calls on IBM Cloud by pouring through documentation. So I didn't have to spend as much time reading the documentation as Nick probably did. So again, big shout out to Nick.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway, so we're here. At this point, I have a token. At this point, I can send this token here. What I want to do here is, until now, all the other information could be dummy, but I need a API key to be used. And since I'm already going to change my API key from AWX to after the end of today,
By
might
the way,
as well.
I figured out how to we can start automating building an API key for you every time before we stream it.
Okay, good. So I will just copy this in. Again, this API key will go away after this stream. So, okay, so this is the API key I will use. And if I were to run the way we were running before with the payload stuff, once I get to the IAM Authenticate page here, I should be able to just print access token. Only thing here that I shouldn't try to do now is don't try to convert this into JSON because I'm printing more stuff and JSON wouldn't work anymore. So after it does it, either it breaks or it doesn't. It works first time. You know, it's not even like I don't know what to do at this point, JJ. I'm not used to this kind of things working first time. Right? Like I am puzzled. I'm usually used to doing this 3-4 times for it to start making sense. Anyway, so this worked first time. Don't get used to it. I'm gonna break it pretty soon. So okay, so it worked, which is good. I'm happy about it. But next step is I am calling to this function. Now most of our work would be done in this function. So at this point, I have my account ID, I have my payload that I want to send, and I have the access token. So there is nothing stopping me from doing this thing, which is, where's the doc at? Doing this, where I'm gonna make a post request to this endpoint with this bearer token, this payload. That's just like business as usual. So first things first, I'm gonna create a headers object where first key is gonna be authorization, and then I'm gonna authorization, and then the value is gonna be bearer space plus access token. And the next value is, what is the next value? Next value is this content type. I'm pretty sure this will work even if I don't set it, but why not? Why not do the right thing? So I have this header set already, which is great. Then I need to make a request and also need to figure out what the URL is. So my URL would be this, then this part, then the account ID, and then users. So I'll just copy this entire thing up to here and replace as needed. So I have the subdomain user management. I have, so here I think using something like a Python formatting would be very helpful. Oh, I also don't need basic auth anymore. I don't need this one anymore. I do need the API key. I don't need the passcode one anymore. Okay, I don't need any of that. Cleaned it up quite a while. I do need that. So, okay, so let's create the user management endpoint is gonna be protocol. So protocol plus subdomain user management plus API plus
V2.
yeah, so V2 stuff, and this is the part I don't want. So here I'm thinking if I can do something like keep it like this and let Python replace it.
Yeah.
Do you think it'll work? Let's
Maybe.
find out. Let's find out, folks.
But you need to tell what to put there.
Oh, I need the basic auth still. Oh, do I need the basic? Oh, yeah, I do need the basic auth. Wow, I shouldn't have deleted that then, huh? You know what? It's easy. I can just copy it back from here. Aha. So the reason I need the basic auth, because first time I log in with the API key, the header you have to set is this, which is, so if you don't know what this is, JJ, do you know what this base 64 decodes to?
No.
Take a guess. This is very common. We have done this like thousands of times.
Foo?
No.
Foo bar?
I mean, more something like we do as a secret people usually set. Or like
Password?
a username. As a username people usually
Admin.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, okay, hold on. Let me show you. This is, what am I doing? Okay, go back. So quote, then base 64-D. Oh, sorry. Never mind. This is not it. I'm wrong. Wait, this is BX. Oh man, it looked very much like admin. Let me see what admin actually is.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing twice, right? So admin wouldn't.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so admin base 64. Well, admin looks very similar too. That's why I got confused. No, but okay, so this one is, you know how when you can, in authorization, you can send username and password together like a user colon password, right? When you're like signing, like authenticated to MongoDB, you can say MongoDB, then you can say admin colon admin at. So when you don't have a user, you have the API key, you want to get the token. The basic thing you can send is BX colon BX. Although we kind of moved away from BX on everything, Lumix from everything. But this is like such a low level thing. No one like went back and changed the very basic code to do this. But this works.
That's amazing.
But yeah, so you have the username and password as BX. That's a blast from the past for folks who know. We used to be called Bluemix at one point. Anyway, so all right, we come back here. We're doing this. At this point, my header is set. And the next set of things I need is URL. So we're going to see if we can so my assumption is I could just do a string replace on this one with the format thing and it should work, but who knows? So I'm going to say URL is equal to, okay, so let's look up Python string format. So Python string format. And yeah, those of you who are in the video stream trying to learn AWX, here we are, we're learning Python today. So, okay, so we can do txt.format and replace the, okay, we do this way.
We have been doing a bunch of Ansible stuff. It's just not the, run Ansible playbook to do it. We're actually manipulating an API.
Yeah.
With Ansible.
Okay. So you're gonna say user endpoint dot format. I can do it, looks like. And then I'm gonna pass in account ID. And just to confirm that it is working, I'm gonna just print this URL and run it again and see what happens. Okay, it replaced it. Excellent.
Sweet.
Python is doing its thing, and now I can do requests dot. Okay, I'm not gonna even try to see how the request works from memory. And also, this is another thing is like, even the people, I think people who does Python for a living don't know all of these things like from memory. And I'm going to be really weirded out if someone just knows everything from memory like this. So yeah, people look it up all the time. So,
You should use Dash at the rate you're going here. You heard of Dash?
Oh yeah, I have it.
No.
Yeah. I haven't. I end up not using it quite enough as much as I would like to. As much as it would be useful to use Dash, but let's use it today. Requests Python.
You don't have it installed, do you?
Ugh, I don't do Python. I told you.
There you go, Python 3 right there.
I do have it though. URL is it this?
Oh no, that's the standard wipe.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'm looking. You know what, JJ? You and your bad ideas. Okay, we have the get request. Okay, request.get looks simple enough. Let's see some post. Come on. Show me post. Seriously?
Ready?
Come on. Ah, here you go. So we need this. So request.post, need the URL. I don't think we need the data. I need to send it as JSON and need to send the headers as headers. That's it. That's all I care for. So request post. Then I need the URL. Then I have the headers set as headers. Then I have JSON set as payload. And that's it. And how do I know what the response came back as? Oh, then I can set this to R equals this. Oh, I know another thing. I did all this yet, like for this one. So R, there you go. So status code and all that fun little tidbits from making API calls. What kind of response can we expect? So 202 is what we are looking for. Anything other than 202, that means things were bad. So r.status code if not equals 202, print terrible things happened. I mean, in this case, terrible things will happen because our username doesn't make any sense. None of the things as data we are passing makes any sense. So terrible things probably will happen. Okay. And unless, if that doesn't happen, that means we're done. We're good. So what should we return? We should return true, false, right? That we can, on the other end, we can see if it worked or not. Return false. And if that is, yeah, Python false is capital F. Return true. And we can, then we're good. And we can come down here, wherever we are, we called it. And success is a value we're saving. If success, if this was good, we can now do this part. Oh man, I got the beach ball. I don't know why. What did I do? Oh, okay. Okay, Python is like, my idea is being very shitty. But
you made it angry.
I don't know what I did. I usually don't make things angry. Yeah, and if it doesn't work, I can say module fail JSON also with result. Okay, sometimes in Python, I see people be doing this double start thing. I have no idea what that is. Like why people do that.
What, wasn't there a what should we call it? A tooltip over just a second ago?
Oh yeah, else again, this is wrong code. This is right code. Message. And when you say JSON, what are you sending? How are you sending it? Okay, you can just message equals something. Okay, cool. Bad things happened. Okay, so on this one, I'm gonna run this and bad things definitely will happen. So we should see it fail. Bad things happened. We got it. Excellent. We also got terrible things happen because, but the thing is, we made API calls. We made things. We made what do you call ripples on the pond.
Mhm.
So now all you gotta do is fix up. So our API key is already good. We need to find a solid account ID, which I can do. IC account show, and I can get my account ID. This one, and I'll just replace all these values, and then we're gonna be good.
All right.
Account ID, where is that at? Oh, not payload here. Account ID is this one. Account role, capital V viewer, right? That's a I am roles. So I did the viewer thing, and I'm gonna also set this viewer. I also need to find a email address to actually invite to see if it's working. I have.
We can use, okay, if you need one. Okay.
Yeah. So the roles would be this one. Then resource group. Let's find the resource group. So I think I already did it. This is a resource group. I'm gonna do default, right, JJ?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So resource group is gonna be this one. Access group is where we're gonna need some. So we're gonna do this one. Access groups, and then we need one last thing, users. I can do my Gmail address, one of them. This is Mofi. This is me back in like high school and thinking this is a really cool email address that I got myself, which was not bad. I actually had few folks in my classes that they kind of copied this style. So you have a bunch of like, this is some name email addresses floating around in the world, which is I take credit for, which is cool.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to create this again. It's taking its time, which is good. Oh, bad things still happen. Damn it. Okay. All right. Well, we need to probably print out a little bit more information about what the bad thing was. Let's go back. That's okay. JJ, first time, if it works first time, I get really suspicious. So
yeah, there's something really wrong if it works the first time.
Yeah, first time work. That's just like you don't want that. Print r.json. I just want to, oh, that's not gonna work because I'm returning. So I'm gonna probably print it right here. All right, make that call again and see what happened. What invalid payload. Resources. Okay, what did I do? Resources. Okay, I needed a thing called resources. Did I not send it? Let's look at it. This is not it. I'm looking for invite new user .py. There's supposed to be a thing called resources, and it's complaining that I don't have it. Did I spell resources wrong? Could be. I could do such things. Resources has a thing called okay. So the thing is, instance additional properties will exist in instance when not allowed. What? Okay. Do you understand what this error message is saying?
Required property resources.
Oh, sorry. So IAM policy supposed to have a thing called, oh, resources is part of this, not outside as a separate thing. Okay, I fucked up. Never mind. So this array covers resources as a thing. Yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine. But I don't know what it should go up to. So this IAM policy array covers up to what? Up to access groups. Okay. My God. I have to close this to figure out. Okay, let's keep this, bring this back again. Yeah, so I just fucked up on the structure, which is okay, which is something salvageable. So I'm gonna put this side by side so that you can read it, and JJ can use your keen eyes.
You're asking a lot out of me for that.
So users is an array that is solid. IAM policy is so resources goes inside IAM policy. So whatever resources is start to finish. Resources is an array that has things in that. Okay. Yeah, I'm a bit confused. What is going on? So attributes is an array. This one. Then okay, got it. Okay, so this is the same thing as resources, right? This is resources. Okay, so I will have to take this entire resources thing, put it right there, and now what do we have? What do you got? So so IAM policy is also an error. This is confusing. So IAM policy has to close at some point. So this shouldn't close here. It should close here, obviously. Right.
I'd mirror the.
Yeah, I'm gonna mirror the
bracket.
lines. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. I should do that. So resources. So I'm gonna kill that into the previous line, and that should come at the same level. So, okay, IAM policy has this thing. It has one. So the role ID roles has a roles payload. Okay, that one is self-closing, so I have to put a comma there. That is good. I think I fixed it.
We'll see.
Well, or we won't. If it doesn't work, how would you see it? But okay, now you can see that type, roles, and resource are all part of the IAM policy object. Right? Looks right so far?
Yes.
Okay. And also, I don't know why is it doing 4 spaces. I don't think I'm doing 4 spaces. Let's change it back to 4. Oh, actually, I should be doing 4. Let me do 4. That's my Python linting set to do that. And okay, so let's bring it back, run it again from the top. All right, JJ, moment of truth, part 2.
All right.
Aha! It has done so.
No.
Yeah.
Holy crap. I think you did.
Yeah.
Nice.
The third time is the charm, as I always say. That's a saying that I have been saying for like forever. Now if I go to access IAM and look for users, I should be able to see this new user that hasn't accepted this thing just yet. This is the worst account to try to do this because it has so many new users all the time. Oh, never mind. I shouldn't actually do it there.
Can you put the privacy screen up?
Yeah, can you?
There you go.
It's mainly because it's up.
Yep.
Okay, so mainly because the reason the privacy screen is up right now, we have this account people do their workshops in. So we don't want you to see some random person's email address. We're just being
GDPR, PI.
Yeah,
a lot of trouble.
Yeah, so okay, so email address. I'm sorted by email. I'm just looking for if it exists. If it exists, I'll tell you. You have to take my word for it, though. T. I don't have T until here. So I'm going to go to the next page. Look for T, S, PQRS, T. This is mofi@gmail.com. So you can take it back down. So
yeah, we need to clean up that account. There's a lot of
I'm gonna get rid of most of them emails. So as you can see, I have this user again. It might be confusing because the parent of this account is also me because they're the same name. So the user's name is Mofi Rahman, but the parent is me, which is mofizrahman@ibm.com. And this is the email I just added. And I haven't logged in yet, but I will right now to see that I have access to that account as a lab instructor, which is all we wanted in life.
Perfect.
So, man, JJ, I can't handle all this success. And trying something and it's working. It's bothering me. We gotta take something more ambitious and fail so that
I believe it's because we're pairing on something, and I'm making little snide comments every once in a while that is making you not get in your own head.
It can be angry. I'm like, and you won't like me when I'm angry. That's kind of the whole situation. But who are joking around, as you can see, I have this account just became available under my list of accounts. So this is another account I was part of. So again, I just became a part of this account, and which is great, so now all this left to do is publish this module. That's it.
Okay.
But I don't think I want to publish this as it. I need to clean it up just a little bit. So I will do that, and we'll have this published. So when I say clean it up a little bit, I will move this code onto under the other thing, package it, and push it up under kubeadmin. But I just wanted to show how to build it. Actually, you know what? Let's build it. Whatever. Let's build it. Let's build this bad boy up. Okay, so we're inside here. The CD. I'm gonna go to create cloud user module, and I can say Ansible, and my thing is blocking everything, obviously. So I'm gonna say Ansible Galaxy Collection build. If I do build, it's gonna build it. But before I do that, a little bit of housekeeping stuff so that I'm nice to the community itself is you do want to kind of fill this in, not this one, the other one. You do want to fill this information to the best of your abilities, right? Like whatever information you have. For example, right now we don't have a Git repo for this, which is a terrible thing. So we can't put all that information right now. So that's what I was saying by cleaning it up, putting in the right Git space, all that. But I'll just show you build. I'm not going to push it, but I'm going to show you build. It's extremely simple. So you can say Ansible Galaxy Collection build, which is this command. And that's it. I have built it.
Nice.
Yeah. Now, then you can say Ansible Galaxy Collection push or publish. Yeah, publish with your API key. It will go to the right place under moficodes.cloud user. But I want to put it under kubeadmin. So I'll do that offline sometime next week when we come back. I'll just quickly at a glance show that this is available there. But the point was that creating the process, we're going back and forth a lot. Most of the difficulty we had was with Python, not with the module things itself. So Ansible Collection, you are only limited by your ability to write Python code, which we are pretty limited by. So if you have a little bit more, and I asked our friend Colin last time we spoke, is there any way to write modules in other languages? And he said he's going to look into it. So it might be even possible to write a module in some other languages. If it is possible, then you might be able to take advantage of writing collection in some language you like more than Python. And in any case, Python is one of those languages. It's just that because we're not reaching any, because let me rephrase, we are not trying to create the best performing Python code here, right? Because Ansible runs sporadically in a machine somewhere. We are not doing a long running job where getting a millisecond improvement in performance actually matters as much. I mean, you should always be mindful and be trying to write the best code possible. But for the task Ansible does, I'm going to say performance comes second, functionality comes first. And with Python, it's extremely easy to write functional code, right? That just does something. Probably is not the best Python code, is not the most idiomatic Python. It's not the most functioning, most performant Python, but it's functioning Python. It does what you need to do. And in Python, it's extremely easy to get to that point. That's, again, I can say that with enough authority because I know barely any Python and I can actually string this together pretty easily. And that is the case. And there's just so much resources to just do this. So we have this module created. We can push it or anything. That was what I was going to show you, JJ, today in terms of building the module. I think we have a couple of other things left to do for the agenda. We didn't have an official agenda or anything, but I think we talked about what we're going to talk about today. So the other thing is we created this Git repo where initially I was putting all our playbooks in. So we were thinking we're going to clean this up and move it to a new home. So I think the easiest way to go about doing this is change ownership from here. Because like now, first question is, do we like everything that's here or do you want to remove anything?
Go to the pull request first.
We have more pull requests coming in. Excellent. Oliver made a pull request. Nice. Excellent. Quickly take a look. Okay.
There's some stuff in there that we don't really need, but
So another question is, before I merge that one in, I think we need to, is that we're merging here or that's going in the enterprise GitHub?
I believe that one does not require it's I think the data, the applications, I do not believe, or apps, we don't need to put enterprise because of
moving to avocados.
Yep.
Anyway, so yeah, we have a new Git repository that we created, and
well, hey, you see what I did?
Hold on, IBM. Not that. Okay, I'm gonna load it yet. What did you do? Files changed? What happened?
Mm-hmm. So I got the namespace too. So
nice.
So in theory, we can, after we get these all moved over, all the repos for the different ones, we can actually add it to the build on Quay.
You see my review message?
Yeah, I like it. So we can literally just make the changes and then have Quay rebuild the containers for us.
Yeah, and so if anyone is wondering what's the name avocado, and a lot of people started calling developer advocates developer avocados. It's kind of like a play in words, misplay in spelling words, and yeah, here we are. We just found a Git org called IBM Avocados. I was gonna show you this. I made a small little logo for it. It's here. So it's nice. So any other IBM developer avocados out there that wants to, is this logo? I think you can. We might have stickers. No promises, but we might have stickers.
We might. Yes, we might have stickers.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's just. I'm going to hold off on merging Oliver's pull request until I confirm with we're gonna confirm with him first, right? I think that would be a good thing to do. Mainly because just to again, it's nothing secret, but the Cloud Packs are so that we install a lot of Cloud Pack stuff, and the Cloud Pack, some of the installation have proprietary things. Some of them, I don't know if this one is one of them.
I think the better word is licensed.
Things,
yeah. It's not that it's proprietary; it's that you have to pay for portions of it, or you have to have an agreement with IBM, and we don't want to step on that landmine.
Yeah, so we're not. Yeah, I don't want to get all the compliance for things. I mean, we already walk on such a line all the time.
We really do. So before you hit this button, I do want to talk about this real briefly, and if we're lucky, Chris might still be listening to us. So this is one of those times where you have an existential crisis, right? Where do you want to have all of your playbooks in one mono repo, or do you want to split each playbook up into its own repo with its own Git history? For me, and I think this is where Mofi and I kind of disagree, is I believe that every playbook should have its own Git repo, because Git repos are free and it doesn't matter. And we can put actual testing and CI/CD and actual instructions per playbook associated with each of them. Granted, it would require us to add more things to AWX, but I believe that the long-term benefits of that is better. Mofi, what do you say?
Well, I think my argument against it was that for our playbooks, I didn't see the need of having a CI/CD thing happening for it, because our playbooks are this one-time things. We create a project in AWX for the Docker ones, right? The images makes complete sense to have a CI/CD platform for, where every time you change anything, you want to get a new Docker image built for you. But for the playbooks itself, these are more of configuration assets that I don't necessarily think needs a full CI/CD, where every time you change anything, it's not gonna kick off a job that changes hundreds of things. That's where that's where I am set at. And I feel initially, because our playbooks initially will have a lot more churn as we are changing a lot of things, going to everything going to a single repo is gonna add a lot of chaos that you have to manage initially. But that would be much easier to handle in a monorepo. So, I mean, I see your point on 100%, right? If you get to that 100% automation point where every time we change something, we want to individually change one of the projects in AWS, but we could get a similar effects here too. Every time we change anything here, we just want to kick off something that updates my AWS, the project, right? That we want to happen anyway. So
there's also the opportunity, granted that we the work that we do is we trust and then we remove, right? Like when you walk in, we give you keys to the kingdom because we figure that you're a professional and you're not going to completely screw us. But the advantage of having individual repos also is that we could just give Oliver only access to his C for apps repository playbook where he can churn on it at the rate that he wants to, that we don't have to sit there and look at the PRs and all that. We give him the ownership of that churn.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there are arguments to be made about either way, but I feel like right now this kingdom, this like a table of King Arthur is so small. Each people owning everything wouldn't be the worst thing. But I feel like that is some question I think we can revisit once we succeed and getting a lot of people's mind share and a lot of people interested in this thing. We could do another thing. We could say official kubeadmin managed playbooks, Avocado ad managed playbooks. We have two separate types of playbooks at that point, where you can bring your own playbook by getting a repo here that you own, but we officially own 10 of them. That's a kind of like a balance we can strike, because the officials one we're gonna own is gonna be the one that covers 80% of the use cases, right?
Yeah.
But if you come with a 20% use case that usually people don't have, we can give you that like one-off repo that you can play with. So we can kind of like find a balance there as well. I think that could be something. Yeah.
I feel like I'm back as chef all of a sudden. Okay, hit the button.
Right, let's make it happen. So transfer, where am I transferring? I'm transferring to, organization name is IBM Avocados. Oh, I have to type in this. Wait, no, this is type in here. Okay, cool. All right, IBM Avocados. I understand. Transfer this repository. Cool. Man, he just forked it. Oh no, it actually, I think GitHub automatically figured it out. There you go. We're already there. We're here.
Yay.
And I think it also keeps all the pull requests in place.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So we have so we have 3 of them here. One of the AWS playbooks there as well. And I mean, we already showed, this was something that I thought was going to take a second, but it didn't.
We need to put a license up there like now.
Oh yeah. Where's that at? It is on my private repos. I didn't care. How do you add a license from here? About?
You need to add it to the repo.
Okay. I'll do it.
There's a redirect that automatically gets created on GitHub.
Okay. Oh,
so you can still just push it.
Ansible prod AW. Oh no, I think it's in dev. I try to keep it pretty like organized, my structure, but you know.
No, yeah, it's hard to keep. Yeah, I'm with you.
Oh boy, changes. Okay, I'll open this up, add a license. I think I can just like find the MIT license, Apache 2 license, right? Apache 2.0.
Yeah, safe bet is always Apache 2.
Yeah.
Unless somebody comes and tells us we need to change it.
Yeah, so far I have found Apache 2 to be the one that has the. I can just do this, or I have to do the whole thing?
Actually, the easiest thing to do, if you go back to hell, just check out one of the other repos. I have both in there.
Okay. Yep. What do you mean you have both in there?
So if you go to the repo, just go to any of them.
And another, like a lot of people in the community as well have kind of, I don't know, a bittersweet relationship with like licenses. Every time you see a license, it kind of makes you feel iffy. But I think the way I think about licenses there to protect me than anything else. You don't have a license, JJ.
Yeah, dude. Scroll down.
You don't. Oh, this? That's in a README. That's not an actual license.
That can cover it. And then if you go to the IBM one, I believe, or something, or not there's the actual license.
No, I shall put actual license file in there.
All right.
Because when you add a license this way, GitHub doesn't show it here.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you do something like a file called license, then all. So when you add a file called license.
Oh, that's right. You're right. Right. My bad.
All right. No, I just pushed it and it should cover the license stuff. Don't. Oh, yeah. Here you go. View license.
Perfect.
I have the license there. Excellent. All right. So anything else to add? I think we're pretty much covered for all the things we wanted to do. Any thoughts after or anything else you want to do?
There, we moved it. We got the thing working.
User creation also works, which is cool.
Yep, that is true. We could change. We could verify the change works on AWX to see that it's actually pulling down the correct code now.
Yeah. Okay. Now we can actually, okay, we can just, what you could do, we could just take this new URL. I know GitHub will redirect, but might as well help it out a little bit. A little bit of sympathy for the system here, which is projects, kubeadmin playbooks, and change this, save it. Save it. Okay, I think it's done. I just need to rerun this. I think I automatically started running.
By the way, I just invited Oliver and Omid as members to Avocados.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so we can. So the user creation task, I think, would be one of the ones like low-hanging fruits we need to do, because until now we have not been adding a user when we're making, when someone is requesting, we can just run the add user playbook then and then from when you handle the, what is that word? When you handle the Git issue, when a GitHub issue, when it kicks off to back into our webhook, we can then handle what to do with that user if they're not already in the system. I think the add user command is going to be idempotent, where I can just run it if it already exists there, or I can figure out what happens if the user is already there. Let's see if there is any error code for that. If it is, we can just call it it's existing, because our API sometimes returns things like 409 for existing. So access token is invalid. Okay, so let's try it again. I'm going to run it again with the same user to be created and see what happens. Could fail. No, it didn't fail. Excellent. So yeah, this is by default idempotent, which is great. I can just run this 10 times if I need be. So every time a user requests something, we'll just run this to set their user, invite their user with the right permission again.
Perfect. Well, Mofi, I guess we're done.
Yeah. One of those days, huh? Things worked out.
Yeah. We made progress across the board. And yeah.
So next steps, I think sometime next week, I have started some work, and we talked about it earlier. I have started some work in building kind of a makeshift Go SDK for AWX, where you can make use of AWX from my Go code. Next week, I think I'll have something to showcase. So unless we're doing something a little bit more AWXy, where we are probably having one of Reddit friends come and show us a little bit more details about the Ansible Galaxy or the collection stuff. If we have that, that's great. If not, we can probably talk about how to go about talking to AWX without using the UI.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's a reasonable stream for next week. If anything, just to post, show how we do it through the curls and the kickoff the jobs,
So,
which we have working now.
Yeah, so curl has been working. I think that's something I can even show right now. That is not something I think it's the biggest challenge, but I think the other one is not a challenge either, but it's just like a whole flow of making use of AWX features without touching AWX. So a few of the things I am building right now is basically I have a separate app where I want to surface my available workflows so that people can select those workflows from that UI. So that's one of the things that I'm working so that my Go backend code can query my AWX API to list all the workflows that are available. Two is launch one of those workflows by sending some extra variables with it. That's another thing we want to be able to do. Well, technically, that's all we want to do. And another thing as a side we want to be able to do is update our project once we add something to our GitHub. Because right now, every time we run a job, the Ansible and AWX updates the project. But the problem is if you add a new, like a playbook, right? If you add a whole new playbook, you have to manually go and update your project, right? So for that playbook to show up on the drop down, so you know what I mean, right? Yeah. So
are you convincing me that we should have separate repos now?
No, I'm not. I'm saying is that we need to have a way every time our main repo we add a new playbook or any changes. I want to kick off something that updates my project already. So the next time I come and go to create or look for list of things, I don't have to manually go and update anymore. That's just like for me to save some time.
No, makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah. So that's a couple of maybe three or four features I will have built hopefully by next week, so we can talk about it or whatever.
Cool. All right. Well, thank y'all for watching. And I'll have the video, if you came in late, I'll have the video pushed up to YouTube here probably next couple hours. And other than that, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. I'll keep this going as I say these words, see if anyone puts anything. And it looks like no one is. So I'm just still talking. And then I am going to say thank you. Say bye, Mofi.
Bye, Mofi.